$475,000. That's the fine the head of our neighborhood association got slapped with after she vandalized my old Coast Guard cutter in the dead of night. Maggie Thornton thought her money and influence put her above the law. She believed she could ruin the one thing I held sacred, my retired service vessel honoring my fallen comrades, and get away with it. For years, Maggie had bullied residents and ruled our lakeside town with an iron fist. But she never guessed who she was picking a fight with. When I caught her sneaking around my dock, spray paint can in hand, defacing the boat that meant everything to me, I knew this wasn't just petty vandalism anymore. It was a battle, and I was ready to fight back. What followed completely toppled her control over our community and stunned everyone who thought Maggie was untouchable. How could one old boat bring down the most feared woman in Lakeview Shores? Keep reading. This story takes some wild turns. I'm Alex Morgan, 39, a former Coast Guard officer turned freelance marine surveyor. After a decade patrolling stormy seas, I settled in Lakeview Shores, a sleepy town by the big lake where retirees start their mornings watching eagles swoop and fishermen haul in their catch. The houses are humble but tidy, with neat gardens and tall pines whispering in the breeze. It's the kind of place you think you'll live quietly for years, soaking up sunsets that turn the water into gold. My pride and joy sits at the private dock behind my modest cottage, a 1975 Coast Guard cutter I bought at a government surplus sale 4 years ago. She's no beauty queen, with chipped paint and rust spots showing her age, but to me, she's priceless. This boat was my home during my last deployment, where I lost 2 close friends, Ryan and Jake, in a storm near the Bahamas. Every morning I sit on her deck, coffee in hand, running my fingers over the controls, remembering them. The boat is more than metal. It's a floating memorial, a piece of my past that keeps their memory alive. Once, a local marina offered me $25,000 for her. I'd rather have given a kidney than sell. Enter Maggie Thornton, a tempest in a designer blazer. Maggie is 54, the self-declared queen of Lakeview Shores Neighborhood Association, and she treats the rulebook like gospel. She lives in the largest house on the block, a sprawling 3-story mansion with more windows than walls and gardens manicured enough to rival botanical gardens. Her perfect blonde hair never moves, even in gale winds, and her steely gaze could freeze fire. Maggie inherited a fortune, retired early from banking, and seemed to dedicate her life to making everyone else miserable. Our conflict began with a letter one Tuesday morning, polished and official-looking with Maggie's signature curling at the bottom. Dear Mr. Morgan, it started, "It has come to the attention of the Lakeview Shores Neighborhood Association that your vessel is an eyesore, violating community aesthetic standards. You must remove the boat within 30 days or face escalating fines and legal action." I read the letter 3 times, coffee growing cold as disbelief set in. My boat was legally moored behind my own house, causing no disturbance, except to Maggie's delicate tastes. Trying to be reasonable, I knocked on her door that afternoon, wearing my best shirt and a calm smile. Maggie opened with her 2 fluffy poodles trotting behind her. I explained the legal standing of my boat, the sentimental value, even offered to plant bushes if she wanted less of a view. She listened with a smile, like she was humoring a child. "Alex," she said coldly, "that rust bucket drags down the whole neighborhood. It's lowering property values. It has to go." When I said no, she declared war. 2 weeks later, I woke to a nightmare. My cutter's hull was spray-painted bright red with the word junk in massive letters. The navigation lights I'd carefully restored were smashed, shards sparkling like broken stars on the dock. Someone had gouged the paint with a crowbar, stripping away protective layers and exposing the bare metal beneath. It was as if someone had desecrated a sacred monument. I stood on the dock, stunned, clutching my coffee mug, which slipped and shattered. All I could see was Ryan's laughing face from that last deployment, polishing the brass handles with pride. This wasn't just vandalism, it was personal. I documented everything with my phone, capturing the precise destruction. That's when I spotted them. Luxury leather gloves smeared with red paint, carelessly dropped beside my boat. Expensive gloves that couldn't belong to just anyone. That night, I emailed Maggie, attaching photos and demanding $9,000 for repairs. Her reply came quickly. Icy denial, insinuating I was making baseless accusations and needed better security. She was gambling I couldn't prove a thing. The next morning, my neighbor, Luis Delgado, a retired IT specialist, burst in excitedly, showing me security footage from his garage camera. There was Maggie, dressed in black, tiptoeing like a shadow around my boat at 2:17 a.m., spray can in hand, smashing lights with a crowbar and dropping those very gloves in her rush. Luis grinned. We finally got her. Maggie escalated her attacks quickly. Within days, I received a new fine notice for supposedly violating a vague community rule about harm to neighborhood harmony. She was twisting regulations like a weapon, pretending her own crime never happened. Then came the bombshell, a fake property survey claiming my dock wasn't on my land, but community property, threatening to force me to remove the boat. I contacted Maya Rivera, a young legal aide from the city planning office, who despised Maggie for humiliating residents publicly. She quickly identified the survey as a forgery. Fraudulent boundaries had been shifted to steal my waterfront rights. Together, Maya and I dug into Maggie's history and uncovered decades of abuse, bullying, and financial misdeeds. Previous board members had quit in protest, residents were fined for imagined offenses, and Maggie had been using HOA funds for personal luxuries. Meanwhile, Maggie's smear campaign worked. Neighbors who once greeted me crossed the street. Business partners dropped contracts. My reputation was being shredded. But Maggie made a critical mistake during a private conversation with a suited man outside the community hall, someone whose signature appeared on the fake survey. I snapped a covert photo. This was no lone bully. It was a coordinated criminal effort. Tyler, Maggie's 20-year-old nephew, had been acting jittery since the vandalism night. I cornered him at the local bait shop and got him talking. His terrified reaction confirmed my suspicions. Later, I found a flashlight engraved with Maggie's initials buried near the dock, painted the same red as my boat's graffiti. Under pressure, Tyler confessed he'd been Maggie's lookout, coerced with threats to his family and promises of tuition money. He revealed years of property sabotage and intimidation against neighbors who challenged Maggie. With Tyler's confession, Luis's footage, Maya's legal support, and physical evidence, we prepared for a hearing to stop Maggie's attempt to seize my boat. She retaliated by fabricating a scandal accusing me of illegal business practices, sending forged documents across professional forums to destroy my career. It was a coordinated attack aimed at breaking me financially and emotionally. Court day came. Maggie appeared confident, but was met with a tough judge who demanded hard evidence. Our presentation was airtight. Video of her vandalism, Tyler's sworn statement, financial records exposing embezzlement, and testimony from harassed neighbors. When pressed, Maggie's team couldn't produce proof for their claims. Tyler's affidavit detailed a long history of criminal conspiracy, harassment, and fraud. The judge sentenced Maggie to 8 years in state prison, ordered her to repay $475,000 covering boat repairs, HOA theft, property damage, and legal costs. Maggie's husband left her soon after, shocked to learn how much she had stolen from their own community. Tyler received probation and community service, but found a fresh start free from Maggie's control. 6 months later, I hosted a neighborhood barbecue on the restored cutter. Neighbors shared stories, laughter, and hope for a united future. The boat that Maggie tried to destroy became a symbol of resistance and community strength. Sometimes, the things meant to break us give us power instead. And one person's determination can topple a tyrant, proving justice can prevail, no matter how deep corruption runs.